Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Zach, the Money Nutritionist. And if you haven't noticed, interest rates are extremely low. So everyone, their mother, grandmother, and father are trying to buy real estate, and it's going extremely quick. So to give you a heads up with some tips and tricks, let's talk about how you can buy your first home. So for those of you who are new to the channel, my name's Zach, and what I do is I provide healthy money tips from anything that deals with the stock market to real estate to marketing and things like that can make you extra cash. And I try to do it from a way that is healthier than the typical knowledge that's out there on the internet today. So if this is your first video, you're in for a treat. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below and let's get into the info. So if you're new to the real estate game, the very first thing you want to do is just make the easy decision of saying to yourself, I want to buy a house. That's it. That's step number one, is making the decision in your mind that it's time to buy a home. And once you make that decision, the next step is to decide, well, what type of home? Do you want a condo? Do you want a townhome? Or do you want a single family house? That's your first decision. Also, when it comes to the type of house, you need to decide, do I want it to be a house that's brand new? Or do I want it to be a house that I can renovate? I can knock some walls down, replace floors, and paint all the walls. Or do I want a house that's in the middle? A house that's move-in ready, but if I want to update the kitchen 3 years down the line, I can do that too. So you've got a new build, a house that needs renovation, or a move-in ready home that you can do updates to later. And you've also got a condo, townhome, or a single family home. So you need to decide, what type of house do you want? And be honest with yourself. If you're a handyman, you can handle a renovation. If you want to move in because you have a really demanding job and you don't have time to update a house, then you might want to consider a new build. You also want to think about your goal. Is it a house you want to buy for the short term, or is this going to be your forever home? Start thinking about how long you plan to stay in the house, because that'll play a big part into how much you're willing to pay and the area you want to choose for the house you're going to buy. Now, these are the very first basic steps: that decision, the type of house, and your goal. So really take some time to think about those three aspects. And then after you do that, we can start talking about money. And that's when you need to search out a mortgage broker. Now, if you don't have a relationship with a bank where you already know someone that does mortgages, you should seek out a mortgage broker. This is someone who can write a loan for the house, and they'll shop different lenders and decide what's going to be the best deal for you. So they're really great at getting you a good deal when it comes to the loan for your house. And this is the first step before getting a realtor, and I'm going to tell you why. I recommend that you talk to someone, whether it's at a bank or someone that has recommended a broker to you, first, because you need to look at your finances. Are you even in the position to buy a house? Because what a mortgage broker will do, or a lender, whatever term you want to use, they're going to look at your entire financial picture. They'll tell you how much house you can afford and how much you can pay each month for a mortgage. A mortgage broker is going to tell you if you can afford $100,000, $200,000, or a $500,000 house based on your income and your debt. So that's the very first important piece that's going to dictate what type of house you can hunt for anyway. Now, after they've examined your entire financial picture, they'll tell you how much house you can afford, and they'll give you a pre-approval letter. And this letter is going to let sellers of houses know that, hey, you've already been pre-approved to get the loan for this specific amount, so they're more likely to do the deal with you if you've already been pre-approved by a mortgage lender. So at this point, you now know what type of house you want, you know your goals, and you know how much you can afford. So from there, another good piece is that your mortgage lender is going to say, hey, you might need to tighten up your finances a little bit. They might tell you to pay off the car, pay off your credit cards, or find a tenant so that you can get a lease at your current house to show that you're making more money. There's other ways you can do it to enhance your financial position, but they're going to give you some tips and tricks how to get the loan that you deserve. Now, what type of loan do you deserve? There's four main ones that I would recommend for your first house. And the first option would be what's called a conventional mortgage loan. And this is where you're going to put down 20% towards the value of the house. So if the house you want to buy is worth $100,000, you need to put down 20%. So why would you do that? It's because it comes with a lower interest rate, and it's much easier to get a conventional loan if you don't have a really good credit score. The second type of loan is what we call an FHA loan. It's a government-backed loan where you only have to put down 3 to 3.5%. But the problem is they're going to smack you with a penalty called PMI, which is an additional fee you have to pay every single month towards your loan. So it's good if you don't have a lot of savings, but it's bad because you're going to increase your monthly mortgage payment. The third option you have is buying a USDA home. Now these homes are rural-based homes outside of city limits. And the good thing about this is you don't have to put any money down. You can buy those houses with 0% down, and actually the first house I bought was a USDA home. They actually wrote me a check to buy the house, which was crazy, and the house was only 4 minutes outside of the city limits. So if you want a really good trick, look for a USDA home because you don't put any money down, you'll probably get paid some money, and then if you can get one close to the city, it's not that big a deal. And last but not least is the 403k loan. I would recommend doing this if you want to do a renovation because what they do is your mortgage will include the value of the home plus money to do fixes on the house. So you get kind of a package deal to buy your house and do the fixes all in one loan. So if you want to do some renovations, I would recommend looking at the 403k loan. Now we have pretty much put together the basic building blocks for you to start looking at houses. You know your goal, meaning you know if you want to be there a long time or a short period of time. You know the type of house you want versus a new build, a house that's run down, or a townhome or a condo or a single family home. And you know what you can afford and the type of loan you're going to get based on your savings or your personal situation. This is the building blocks you need to take care of before you ever start hunting for a house. But once you've taken care of all these steps, the next thing to do is find your realtor. So the best way to get a realtor is just to ask friends and family. They're most likely going to give you someone that they've worked with before or that has really good reviews or they've heard from other friends or coworkers about this guy or girl is really good and they'll recommend you to a realtor that's close to you. Now the only downside is if you live in an area where you've been priced out, meaning you can't afford the houses where you live, you have to go to another county or another city. In that case, what you want to do is find a realtor in that area. So you want to ask around or use online reviews to find someone that lives there in the area where you'll be looking for your house. And the tip I would give you is to find someone that is a lifelong resident in that area because they're going to know what it used to be. They're going to know where the areas of growth are going to be and what areas you should probably avoid. So I would look for someone that is a lifelong resident in the area where you want to buy your house. Once you find a realtor, just give them a call and say, hey, my name's Zach. I'm looking for a house in the area in this price range. Here's the type of house. I want a 3-2. I want a garage. Explain to them the type of house you want. And what they will do, they'll take all your information for what you're looking for and ask them specifically, please put me on the MLS. And that is the multiple listing service. This is where all realtors will place houses for sale. So as soon as a house goes for sale, if it meets your criteria, you're sent an email saying, hey, this house has now listed. It meets all the criteria you're looking for your house, and you could be one of the first people to jump on it. So you've found your realtor, you have access to the MLS. On top of that, you still want to use Realtor.com and Zillow.com because some houses that are on those websites are not on the MLS. So you've got a lot of advantages here by having houses listed with realtors and houses that people are just listing on those websites. Now, once you get access to the MLS and you have your realtor, you can start compiling all the houses you're interested in and start looking at them. And each day you go out with your realtor, you'll look at anywhere from 6 to 10 houses that meet your criteria that you like. Because online you can look at pictures, you can look at square footage, how old the house is, what it comes with, and you'll decide for yourself what you like and what you don't like. And then you'll go see them in person. And just to give you an idea, the first house I bought, I looked at over 50 houses, took a break for like 2-3 months before I decided to buy my first house. For my second house, I looked at maybe 10 houses before I bought that one. And then the third house I bought, I didn't even see in person. I put in a contract without seeing it. So over time, you'll start to get used to what you're looking for, what types of things you're interested in, and you'll find a house that you like. But you have to get out there and look at them. So let's say a few weeks goes by and you find a house you like. The next thing you want to do is put in an offer. Now what I will say is that if a house is good, they're going to go quickly. There's people like me who are going to put in contracts on houses without seeing them in person. So once you are pre-approved to buy a house and you see one that you like, you need to put in an offer right then and there, or at the latest 24 hours later once you've talked it over with your spouse or whatever else you need to do. But don't wait. Go ahead and put in the offer because houses are going very, very quickly. When you put on the offer on your house, you need to think of leverage. So what can you negotiate? Things you want to look for negotiating the price down are things like, how long has the house been on the market? If it's been listed for a long time, you can probably negotiate the price down. Is it an old house? Does it need a new roof? A new HVAC system? Did it have pets running through it so it reeks when you go inside? I went into one and you could smell the cat pee before you got in the house. So there's a lot of things you can negotiate down when you make your offer. Some personal things you can use as leverage are things like how much money you want to put down for earnest money and due diligence. What that means is basically when you put in an offer to a house, you're going to say, here's a check for you taking down the house so I can look at it. That's the simplest way I'm going to put it right now. Let your realtor go into more detail what that is, but that's essentially what you're doing. Here's a check. Give me some time to check out the house, take the house down so I can look at it. Some other things you can use is your loan type, or if you're buying it in cash. If you say to someone, I'm buying the house all cash, you can get them to come off the price because they don't have to deal with a bank. It's less risk for them. Or if you have a conventional loan, it's also less risk for the seller versus someone who wants to do a 403k loan and renovate the whole house. Because right now, most banks aren't writing 403k loans. So how much money you're giving them in due diligence or earnest money versus your loan type will play a big part in leveraging down and negotiating down the price of the house. So what you and your realtor will do is write up this offer to the seller. You should know also how much the house is worth. Your realtor should do what's called a market analysis, telling you this is what the house is worth. So you'll put in your offer, make sure it's a good offer. If they accept it, then great. You go under what's called under contract. If they don't accept it, then you can negotiate back, or they will give you another negotiating price. They may come back and say, hey, we're not going to take that deal, but we'll take $10,000 off. So there can be some negotiating back and forth, or they'll just flat out tell you no because there's other offers. What I recently just had happen is we called the realtor before we put in an offer, and we told them what we were going to offer. So they told us that you need to go up on your price if you want to be the top offer. So we raised the offer price and then we got it accepted. So depending on how good your realtor is, there's some other ways you can talk to their realtor before you put in an offer. So that's another good tactic that you can use before you put in your offer. But let's assume your offer gets accepted and you're now under contract. Once you go under contract, you enter what's called a due diligence period. This is what you wrote the check for. You wrote the check so you can do your due diligence and check the house. This is where you will hire people to check the HVAC system. You'll hire your inspectors, plumbers, electricians, a structural engineer, termite inspections, or a surveyor. You have all these options when it comes to checking out the house. Your realtor will help you decide which ones you should pay for because it can get really expensive. Most loans will require that you do a termite inspection. You should always have a home inspector. If it's an old house, I recommend a structural engineer. If you notice the HVAC system is old, I would get that inspected. And then if the inspector sees any issues with electrical or plumbing, you can hire them later. But that's where I would start. The only time I would really do a surveyor is if you're buying a lot of land. I only needed one for the first house I bought because it was about an acre. If it's smaller than that, then I really wouldn't worry about having a surveyor come out. What's going to happen when all of these people inspect the home is they'll tell you every little thing that's wrong with it. And you will use those little things to renegotiate the terms of the contract. So for example, if they say the roof's going bad, you need a new roof, you need a new HVAC system, or there was a leak, so there's flooring that's really bad and it's going to cost you $3,000 to get it replaced. You need to know these things because what you'll do is you'll turn around and say, hey, we found out all of these issues with the house. You either need to fix them or you need to write me a check at the end of this deal so that I can get them fixed, or you need to come off the price of the home. Those are your three biggest, best options when you find issues with the house, but they're great for renegotiating the contract. It's what we call an addendum. So you'll write an addendum to them saying, you need to fix this, 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 and this. You'll send it to the seller. They'll come back and say, we're not fixing this, or we'll give you this much money. They'll negotiate with you back and forth until you have the terms that make both of you happy, hopefully. But you'll find out what terms you want to stick to if they're giving you money or coming off the price of the house. In times when I've bought and sold houses, there's been bad windows, so I got a check for bad windows. I had to write a check for bad windows. My brother got a $5,000 check to cover every little problem that was wrong with the house, because what they did is they came off the price of the house, but it was so late in the process, he's just going to get a check to either fix the house or not. So it's great when you do these inspections because you're able to find all the little nuances that are going wrong, and you use that to negotiate the price of the house down or to get a check to get it fixed. Obviously, most of these tactics are different if you're doing a new build, so most of this won't apply if it's a brand new house. Some of this also won't apply if you're buying a house that is sold as is. If a house is sold as is, you still need to do your inspections, but you need to negotiate these things before you go under contract. So when you give your first offer, that's where you would say, we know this, this, and this is wrong. Now we're negotiating before you go under contract, because remember, it's being sold as is. So you would do this as much as you could do beforehand. So when you do a walkthrough for a house that's sold as is, take your contractor with you. All right, so we're almost to the end of the process. Once you have done your negotiating back and forth after your inspections, you come out of the due diligence period. You both have agreed of what to do with all the problems with the house. Now all you have to do is wait for your mortgage lender. They're going to go ahead and finalize the terms of your loan. They're going to send in an appraiser who's going to put a value on your house. They will appraise your house. So let's just assume you want to buy a house worth $200,000. If it appraises for $225,000, that means, hey, you're buying a house that's actually worth $225,000 for $200,000. So hey, good deal for you. But if the house that gets appraised is less than the loan you're looking for, because you want to buy a $200,000 house, but the home is only worth $150,000, you're not going to get the loan for the full amount, and you won't be able to get the house. So that's the downside when you get an appraisal, but it has to be done. So fingers crossed that the house you get will appraise for what it's really being sold for. But if the appraisal goes well, your loan gets approved, and you're done. You go and sit down with lawyers, you sign all the paperwork to get the house, you get the keys, and that's it, ladies and gents. You now are a homeowner. So as you can see, there's a lot of steps that go into buying a house. You have to decide what type of house you want. You have to figure out what your goal is for purchasing a home, where you want to buy a house. You have to release all your financial information. You need a good credit score. You don't need a lot of debt. You need to find a realtor, figure out what area you want to be in. You have to finally find a house that gets an offer accepted, especially right now when there's a lot of competition because everyone's trying to buy a house. So you have to find that house, get your offer accepted, do your due diligence, pay a bunch of money to get it inspected and checked, and then after that, you negotiate back and forth to get any of those problems fixed, and then you get the house appraised. Hopefully it goes well, and you close and get the keys to your house. So as you can see, there's a lot of steps that go into this. You will have a team of people that are there to help you. That's why you need a good realtor. You need someone that's a good mortgage lender. And you know, if you have family or friends, they're able to help you too. I'm here to help you. And at the end of the day, we all just want you to be happy and find somewhere that you love to live. And as you can see, when you are buying a home, I highly recommend you use a realtor and a team. There's too many steps to really do it by yourself. If you just watched my recently released video on selling a house for sale by owner, that's so much easier. You can do that by yourself. Go check out that video for selling a house by yourself if you haven't seen it already. But when it comes to buying, use a realtor. Be smart. Rewatch this video a few times to get the tips and tricks. And if you have any questions or comments, put those down below. And this, again, is Zach, the Money Nutritionist. See you in the next video.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no